Hey everybody, you made it to today. This is The Uproar. Now let's get in on it. Today we're going to look at the very most basic, how to call a congressperson. Because I know for me, calling somebody on the phone is like a nightmare. Another one of my nightmares is pretty much any medical procedure. And to combat that fear, what I do is ask for explicit and excruciating detail about the procedure that demystifies the whole process and makes it less scary. And I mean details, like which scalpel are you gonna use? Show me. So let's take a look at the tools that we're gonna need for Operation Actually Call. First things first, who are we calling? I've done some research, and you should too if you're curious. And what I've learned is that it's way more effective to call a congressional district office than the actual capital of the United States of America. Who knew? A congressional district office is local. It's actually in the state or the district that the person in question represents. And the primary job of the staffers in these offices is to listen to you, one of their many constituents. How do they work, though? You, like me, are probably a visual learner. You are watching a video and not reading an article, so chalk it up to a woman's intuition. Let's look at a diagram. Down here, you've got your interns. There's like a million of them. They're usually current college students doing it for the experience or college credit. You might talk to one on the phone. You probably won't. Next, we've got a few staff assistants. These are usually recent college grads. Hey, target demographic, looking at you. These are the people who take the phone calls, emails, actual mail, and people who come in off the street. All of that information they organize to bring to legislative correspondents. Legislative correspondents are in charge of taking all the information from their underlings and responding to them politely, efficiently, and promptly. On top of that, they have the extra job of consolidating and synthesizing all of that massive amount of information to bring upstairs to legal assistants. These legal assistants are the right-hand people to the congressperson in question. So when you call in, your call goes straight to the staff assistants, whose job is to listen to you. Incoming calls. Can they read that from there? Hundreds of thousands of incoming calls. Yikes. They log these calls, where they're coming from, and what the general message of each call is. Back in, let's say, the Obama administration, you could call into these offices whenever you wanted, with whatever you wanted to say. Policy reform ideas, a minor complaint that you wanted to take up with your congressperson. Now, in the midst of a national trash fire, it's better to call in with something specific that you want to talk about. Which is what? I don't know, I'm just a sports coach. Obviously. You're the charismatic camera personality. Oh, stop. Now, there may be some of us out there who have no problem winging it on the phone. It may come perfectly naturally to you to be like, "Hi, it's me, Charlotte Martin. I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York. I'm just calling to let Congresswoman Baldwin know that I stand behind her in any action she might take in defense of the Affordable Care Act." Whoa, somebody called Drew Carey. We've got an improviser over here. But if you don't love the idea of winging it when it comes to expressing yourself about matters that can be both enraging and deeply personal, have no fear. Writers from all over have written scripts for you to follow when you make these phone calls. You could black out and still make a call if you have a script in front of you. One that I'm particularly loving these days, I found on Ilana Glazer's Instagram. Yes, Ilana Glazer of Broad City. Yes! Instagram. It goes like this. "Hi, my name is Charlotte Martin. I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York, and I just wanted Congresswoman Baldwin to know that Steve Bannon is a white supremacist talk show host, and he is unfit for a leadership role anywhere within our government. Thank you." Done. Okay, so now you've made the calls. But who really cares? What are they even doing, really? It's like this. The more people who call, the louder our dissent is made. And if there is one thing we know about loud, annoying sounds, it's that they can really ruin your day. And you would do anything to make them stop. Think of it like filibustering. Don't know what filibustering is? Check out Parks and Recreation, episode 6, season 6. Or Google it. But a secondary, possibly more important effect these calls have is cover. What? Cover for your representative. Look, we all know how democracy works. Sort of. The people vote leaders into office to represent their interests. The people who get elected to these offices want to please the people who put them there, usually. Now, if our elected leaders are going to go against the grain in Washington, they want to know that somebody at home has their back. Well, friends, we are that somebody at home. Your calls reaffirm for your representative we've got their back. They're covered. If they hear from us, they know that they're representing us and our actual opinions. It's kind of like when you want to ask a cute person out, but you're not a psycho. You're not going to do it unless you know that the cute person is like madly in love with you. And like, who wouldn't be? Look at you. But nonetheless, you want to know you have nothing to lose. Your calls tell your representative, hey, you have nothing to lose with me if you stand up to Steve Bannon's fascist rhetoric. In fact, I'd really like that. I've got you covered. Okay, however you're watching this video, follow me over to the YouTube page and check out the video description for links to Congressional District Office contact information, phone call scripts, and an amazing website called 5calls.org, which will walk you through making 5 calls every day about the issues that matter to you. Some final tips. Call during business hours. Seems pretty straightforward. Secondly, remain vigilant. You may not make it through on your first dial, or your 5th, or even your 10th, but keep calling. Keep calling and calling and calling and calling. And if it takes you 15 tries, remember, that's great! That means the lines are jammed because everybody else is calling too. That doesn't mean you're off the hook. Stick with it and don't quit until you are talking to an actual human being, because that's where the magic's gonna happen. Person to person, one phone call at a time. All right, that's it. Pretty painless procedure. That's all for today. Stick together, stay mad. We'll be right back.